Hey everyone, this is Dean from Paranormal Pickers. Getting ready for our next Paranormal Picker adventure. Come on, join me. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Paranormal Pickers. Key the dramatic music.
Dun dun dun!
Well, thank you, Samantha, and welcome back to another episode of Paranormal Pickers, Season 3, Episode 10, Tinker Swiss, or Tinker Cottage, To Death Do Us Part. We're kind of married to the place, aren't we?
A little bit, yeah. That cosmic connection there.
Yep. And hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to the show. We bring you another episode of Tinker Cottage with Samantha. Hogman, please say hello to the folks, Samantha.
Hello,
Sam,
folks.
Samantha.
Sam, Samantha, Sammy, any of the above. Totally fine.
So,
but welcome back. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, no problem. And so I got in trouble last weekend, didn't I?
Oh, you did. You did a little bit there, yeah.
So we were at
out the window.
We were at the cottage, and we had a public or a private investigation, pretty much, with a couple people from down south, Aurora area, and I think they had a good time. A few things happened. We got a couple hits off of the. I was in the main kitchen area, and I was talking to Jesse while everyone was out of the house. They wanted to go down to the end of the bridge, so I was still inside, and I said, "I'm by myself. Jesse, you should be here. Are you here by yourself?" And my obelisk came up, and it said "self." So I thought that was kind of interesting. Normally it doesn't answer right away for that, but that was kind of cool. And then it said water, and I was looking at the sink there, and I was hoping that the sink would turn on. Obviously there's no water, but at least they could try to turn it on, and I could see the handles move, because I already saw another handle move in the barn. So I was hoping for that to happen again, but it didn't. So we got some people joining. Hello, Dorothy, Laura, Ron, and welcome again. And so, yeah, I got yelled at a little bit because there was a cold spot in the library, and I was moving my hand around, and I accidentally hit an object, and Sam went ballistic.
What can I say?
Yeah,
exactly. Whoever Facebook user is, no touchy, Dean. No touching.
It was an accident, it was a little tiny thing.
The bump was the accident. Then you pick it up to try to reset it. That was the biggest problem.
I'm anal like that. But anyway, no harm, no foul. I'm still alive. And so it was a good night, and we had a nice thunderstorm come through there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We also, the day before, we also were at the Historic Auto Attractions Museum in Rockton, Illinois.
Roscoe, I think.
Roscoe? Okay, mm-hmm. Roscoe. And nice place. Get out there. So many things to see. We just did a portion of the area. Big group, about 57 people. Haunted Rockford event. And we did some communication to James Dean, Buddy Holly, Marilyn Monroe, and then some gangsters, and ironically, the weird thing is that they had an old electric chair there, but they sold it. And that's kind of where everyone was getting the feeling of, is that energy still there? And my obelisk actually said green, and then it said electric. And Sarah confirmed that the electric chair used to be where the green stagecoach is now. So it was tying together pretty good. And so, what did you think of the place? I know you were talking to Buddy Holly there for a little bit.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I mean, I love going to the museum. Every time I go in, there's something new, there's something different. The place is ginormous, and that's not even a big enough word for it. I mean, you could easily spend multiple days in that place and still not see everything. And it's called Historic Auto Attractions, but there's so much more than just vehicles. They had stuff like we were talking about from James Dean, Buddy Holly, Marilyn Monroe, from various presidents. They've got a whole exhibit on the gangsters like Bonnie and Clyde. I mean, it's just an incredible location. And the guys that run it are all fantastic people. And I mean, it was so much fun and the folks that came, I think they all had a really good time. And, you know, between the ghost box, the dowsing rods, the obelisks, and then just the stories that they have in the museum. I think it all came together. I mean, Kathy and the guys from Historic Auto Attractions, they put on such a fantastic event.
Yes, they did. And it was fun. And the owner actually got chills. We were doing a dowsing rod, and his son said a name, and your dowsing rods crossed for yes. And we kind of just whittled it down to his family, and he said his family is just on the other side of the wall there. And he's like, no kidding, man, I'm getting chills down my back. It felt like no one was believing what he was saying. And then he had to like step forward. He goes, no, I'm not kidding, I'm getting chills.
Yeah, they have a whole exhibit for the military, and his dad and his uncle's uniforms are on display. And, you know, I thought that was a really touching moment, but the poor guy also was a little unsettled.
Well, when you go from a non-believer in a sense to a, oh my God, this could be doing something right now. There was that moment of transition, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was cool. So definitely get out, check that place out. Always check out the museum, Tinker Cottage, of course. And so some of the things we talked about before was, again, the cottage was built between 1865 and 1870. So it's awesome that it's still standing there, except for some roof repairs.
Yep. The roof just got repaired, so it should be.
Glass?
What's that?
The glass too?
Well, the glass is going to get fixed, but the roof shingles themselves have all been repaired. It's just getting the guys to fix the broken glass parts that they broke while they were changing the roof.
It's a shame.
On it, but
yeah. When it rained that night, we got a lot of water in there.
Yeah.
But that was supposed to be like the atrium area. It was supposed to be used for rainwater to come in and go down into the
pond.
The pond? Okay.
Yeah. Was
it a fountain or just a pond?
You know, it transitioned. Right. Okay. So initially it was just a pond, and then it turned into a fountain. So nowadays it's a modern little pump that runs it. But yeah, initially they had a system that would bring rainwater in through the upper window. So yeah.
Tinker was cool as hell.
Yeah, it was.
Of course, there's 3 volumes of his journals out there. Go and buy those. Or when you go to the museum, you can pick up, I think you got one, you got to get the...
We've got volume 2 in stock. And we've got a book called Robert Tinker's World. That's a narrative of his life that the lady who wrote it, Gail Ravitz, she took everything from his journals, their correspondences, newspaper articles, and she crafted a narrative of his life from start to finish. So it's a really good read as well.
That one I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, it's on the same shelf.
Okay. Well, I'm never in the gifts. I mean,
Yeah,
yesterday, I guess.
usually
But
you'll
I
walk
wasn't
in
feeling good.
straight downstairs, right, for the event. So,
Well, that and catching my breath. We talked about Robert's mom, the Hawaiian Islands, Hilo volcano. Now, I do have to ask, when you first go into the cottage, there's paintings everywhere. But right
mhm.
above the little washroom area, there's a painting. Is that of the volcano?
That is not. That is of Mount Stromboli in Italy.
Okay.
It was not erupting at the time. It's painted as erupting.
Uh-huh.
That is a little bit more of artistic licensing, if you will.
So I wanted to see if that was the Hilo. So it's still
Yeah, it's
okay.
not. That one was from the 1862 European tour.
And
So they
what
went.
was the one right above the main door then going out?
So that's a logging scene. It's
Okay.
unidentified of where it was. And then we've got the Bay of Alexandria, Castle in England, Castle in Ireland, a windmill in Holland, Robert Burns' cottage in Scotland, the Strait of Gibraltar, and there's a scene from the Swiss Alps up on the
Is it
walls in
okay?
that museum.
And that's all Robert's doing.
So it's
Robert
all
painted
his
all those?
drawings, but he wasn't a big fan of painting. So he hired a man named Aaron Lawson, and Lawson's the one who did the frescoes in there based on Robert's drawings.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was definitely a drawer, and I'll bring up something later on about that too. We talked about Robert's cat fetish. We talked about the mirrors and the reverse machine. We brought up disembodied voices and versus EVPs and the mosquito tones, which was kind of cool because at the show on Saturday at the auto museum, we ran into the kid that actually heard the voice. So it was
Oh,
good to see.
really?
Yeah, Brody.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, Brody and his mom was there. So it was good to see that kid. Uh, and let's see, we talked about Jim Redman and other, people in the area. We talked about the Dorff family, of course, the Heeker family. Talked about Dow's, the Human Skull, the Witch's Ball. We talked about Greenwood Cemetery. And actually, I was listening to an audio last night from where's my dates here? From February 15th of 2013. Now, this is an event, or this was an investigation we had with Steve, Cindy from Society of Anomalous Studies. Melissa was there. Mike Menard was there. And myself. And hopefully I'm not forgetting something. Um, and I know Laura and Mark were there as well. Tim, I believe, was there because and Joe was there too. So we had a group that night, I want to say. And so anyway, to the story about that built kind of so it's Wi-Fi interruption here. So we
I was going
had
to say, I did not catch that question at all.
yeah, the Wi-Fi went nuts there for a second. So so Greenwood Cemetery, there is a chapel there that was built by um, Henry Lord Gay,
Hmm.
correct?
Yes. I think it was around 1847.
Okay. Yeah, and I know that they're trying to preserve that structure.
Hmm.
So if there's fundraising, just go out and look for that. If you're willing to give to that cause, please do so. But the story that he was telling is because Henry Lord Gay and Robert were friends. And the story Steve told is that there was one day where this prostitute came up to the door and presented Henry Lord Gay with a child and said, "This is your child, and you owe me money," or something like that. And Robert, being the guy he was, took the baby and said, "Well, if it's his baby and you can't take care of it, then the baby belongs to Mr. Gay." and he kind of kicked her out of the house. So I guess they went to court, and it was found out that this lady was a prostitute, and she would do this to a lot of wealthy men in town to try to pull a fast one on the people to get money or something of that nature. So you never heard that story, huh?
No, I haven't. I mean, it was a ruse that women had used. Not I don't want to say often in the Victorian era, but it was a heard of ruse. So it doesn't surprise me all that much. It surprises me a little bit that the story is that they go to see Robert, because Robert wasn't a judge or a magistrate or anything like that, or a lawyer.
He was with Mr. Gay at the time when it happened. She went to
Okay,
Mr.
so
Gay.
she went looking for Mr. Gay and the Tinkers, knowing that he was there visiting.
Robert was with him, yeah.
Or Robert, okay. Interesting. Yeah. No, I haven't. I mean, it's very possible.
Robert just intervened. Just said, gotcha. You know what, lady? I'm taking your child.
You know, it kind of sounds like something that he would possibly do.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll have to look more into that. I'm not very familiar with that one.
Yeah. Well, I got the video clip of it, so I could send it to you.
Yeah, send it my way, and I'll do a little digging in the newspapers and see what I can find.
We also talked about the mounds out front, Zozo, the Ouija board, the adopted boy, Ted and Teddy, and his car accidents, unfortunately. Talked about a sock monkey, some experiences and some audio clips, and a lot of traveling. So we wanted to focus, too, on weddings at the cottage, hence the two death do us part. So let me see if I can add this here. So first, this is referring to a wedding. I don't know if it happened there, but I found this interesting because the other day we got a name on the list that said Jim. And see how it calls out Jim right there. So Jim Knapp, they were celebrating the 25th year anniversary, and it says that the event or invitations to attend this event were scattered all over Rockford, but unfortunately none of the dual friends of the couple could attend. But Robert, being a drawer that he was, or an artist, made up for the absent, took his pencil and went over to the house where they were married, and he did a picture, pretty damn good picture, and one of the art proprietors placed it in an elegant silver frame for their 25th anniversary and sent it out with a nice suggestive cane. So
what does that mean?
Suggestive? I don't know. Is that what it says? Suggestive cane?
Yeah, that's what it says. Yeah, I don't know what that means. Is it
beautiful purse and a suggestive cane? Maybe suggestive, maybe matching to the purse.
Maybe, or maybe, you know, one of those high status symbols or something was carved in it. Who knows?
Right. But, so this is cool that he took the time to go out there and sketch a drawing of the house. And, you know, goes on to say about the hope everyone is invited to the golden wedding anniversary. The only other one that I found, too, was Miss Marcellus, a bride. Now, this one I can confirm took place there because it says the marriage of Miss Josephine Baisley Marcellus and Mr. C. Harry Woosley was celebrated at Swiss Cottage, the home the bride's uncle. And it was at high noon, and it looked like nobody attended, really. It said it was a smaller ceremony in which the principal cell members was witness, a small company of relatives and friends. There was no attendance, and the wedding was simple in all its appointments. Flowers from the Swiss Cottage gardens were used profusely throughout the rooms. And the bride was gowned in white and carried an arm bouquet of bridal flowers.
That sounds really nice.
Yeah. So, and Josephine is the niece for which brother or sister?
I'm trying to think, and I'm not familiar with Josephine Marcellus because, well,
Charlotte.
his brother Sam was married, right? Sarah. Sarah was married to a and then was married to Mr. Dr. Leon Harvey, and they never had any children. Sarah Gray had a couple of daughters, but that was not them. And then maybe his sister Abigail Marina. Oh, maybe Charlotte. You know what? It may be Charlotte. Yeah. Okay. Well, hey, that's neat. We knew there were a handful of funerals, and we knew that there was at least one wedding, Robert and Jesse's, in the house. But that's neat to see that there was another.
Yeah. Speaking of, what was it, Dr. Leon Harvey? They didn't have any kids.
They didn't. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, he's kind of an interesting person, too, because he's a Dr. Leon Harvey, right? Well, he's a dentist, but also an entomologist. And I don't know about you, but I don't like the idea of those two professions mixing. I just, but no, Mary and Leon, they traveled the world. They went to Japan, and they were close with the Tinkers as well. So Leon died first, and he's buried in New York. They're both actually buried in New York. But she moved out to her sister-in-law's house in California. And that's actually coming up on one of the Daily Tinkers we're going to be posting in May. But the house caught fire, and she ended up lasting for I think maybe 3 weeks, but her burns she succumbed to her injuries from the fire. And so then they shipped her back out to New York, where she was buried next to her husband. And we didn't know where exactly they were buried. So we had an extended family exhibit a couple years ago, and went on this whole rabbit hole learning about Mary and Leon, right? And so then I was like, well, we have to figure out where they're buried. And so I narrowed it down to the city and then the cemeteries. And I picked a cemetery, and I called them up and I said, hi, this is going to sound a little weird. And I go through this whole thing about, I'm looking for these people. I don't know where they're buried, but maybe they're buried there. And the guy on the phone, when you've got someone on the phone and they're like, all right, you crazy person, I don't believe you, but I'll humor you. So he goes, well, hot damn, look at that. They're right here. Apparently they had bought a plot for 10 people, and it's just the two of them there. And he goes, oh, wow. I mean, are you looking for somewhere for you to be buried? I said, no, I'm not part of the family, but thank you for the offer.
Wow. So they got old slots, miss.
Slots. So,
that's
you're
nuts.
A tinker.
So she was only, 52?
Yeah, she wasn't. I mean, she had lived a decent life, but, 52 is still, when Robert got to be 88, that it seems really young. So, which
is, now if she died at 52, I think Sam died at 52 as well.
Yeah, Sam ended up having kind of a rough time, from our understanding. Now, it's been really difficult getting more details on him because the state of New York, their HIPAA laws are so tight that even though this happened over 100 years ago, they're like, no, you're not getting any information.
Well, he died of exhaustion from acute mania.
Oh, yeah. So, well, he ended up in the Buffalo State Asylum.
Which I ghost hunted there.
Did you? Oh my gosh, it's on my list.
William Hills Asylum.
So it's on my list. But yeah, the Buffalo State Insane Asylum, he was in there for a period of time. And Robert wrote in his journal that he and Mary went out to New York. They took the train out to go visit him, and he didn't recognize them. He didn't remember them. He was just so out of it. And unfortunately, not long after that, he did pass away.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was only 52. I found that ironic, though, looking at it, is that Sam and Mary both died about 52.
I mean, for the Victorian era, that was a pretty good lifespan. But it is a little strange that both brother and sister, when they hit 52.
Yeah, the coincidences.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the anniversary. Is it Jesse's and Robert's?
Oh, Jesse's and Roberts was back in March. We have Mary and Roberts' wedding anniversary coming up on Monday, April 24th, all the way back to 1870.
Wow. I think I got some audio clips here. Oh, let's see here. I got one called Wedding Anniversary.
Okay.
Let's see what happens.
What was the anniversary yesterday? Was it a wedding anniversary? Yes or no?
Do you hear that little yes or yeah at the end?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a little faint.
Anniversary yesterday. Was it a wedding anniversary? Yes or no?
So that was one, and then
Do they like flowers?
it was flowers, and then it says the reply was Mary.
Do they like flowers?
Go Mary or something like that.
Yeah.
Do they like flowers?
So those are two that I found on that day back in February.
Fun.
Yeah. So any other weddings you only know of the one then, huh?
Yeah, I had only been aware of the one with Robert and Jesse. But it doesn't really surprise me because I know that there were 7 or 8 funerals. I know they offered their home for various events to people that were close to them. So it doesn't surprise me that there was more weddings in the house. But I think that's really neat that his niece was able to have her wedding there.
Yeah. I can send you the clip if you need it.
Yeah, please do.
All right. Oh, let's see here. Josephine Bride, we talked about that. That was the internet. Okay. So back in, I guess there was a tall tale or something like this where Robert had this feeling that come Valentine's Day, he can be with any woman he wants type of feeling. I don't know if that's, like I said, it's with the boat.
Uh-oh, you're breaking up.
I know, I saw it.
Okay.
So he took his boat down Kent Creek, or this is how we envisioned it. He would take down his boat down Rock River, Kent Creek, or whatever, and he would have women meet him along the way for his Valentine's Day satisfaction. So on February 15th, 2013, we brought Laura to the Tinker Swiss. I think this was her first trip there. And she went through the house, or everyone was in the basement, and Laura was going through the house looking for Robert, and I was following her with a camera. So she's going through this house, and for some reason she took on this English accent. She's like, Robert, I'm here for you on Valentine's Day, stuff like that, you know. So we're going through the entire house, and I'll tell you, by the time we were entering into Mary's, I was backing into Mary's room. I couldn't do it. I could
I
not.
bet you couldn't.
the the thickness in that area. I mean, I was just like, you know, like you can't walk into loud sound. That's how it was. It's like I couldn't do it. It took me, it stopped me in my tracks. I was like, wow, this is like this energy right now. I don't want to go in there. You know, I just didn't want to do it.
Now
It was
that
just,
does not surprise me because Mary is very territorial over her husband.
yeah,
And Robert's the same way over the ladies of the house. They're very protective of each other. And I see Laura in the comments says that she was saying that she was his date for the night. I
yeah.
can see all the ladies of the house, you know, even the ones that weren't romantically involved with him being like, this is absurd. Obviously, it's going to be either Mary or Jesse. What is wrong with you people? So it doesn't surprise me that you got a negative reaction out of
Well,
them. For that.
so after that, I went down and I got Mark, and I said, "You got to come up to Mary's because he's sensitive, so he'll pick up some sensitivities along the way."
Mhm.
And so when he walked in there, he was like, "Oh my God, it's just like so thick in here," and he actually seen something in there, and there's a clip out there. I'm hoping I could play it here. But so being a woman and walking through the Tinker Swiss, do you ever feel like you shouldn't be there? Do you feel like that way? Do you ever feel that way as well?
I mean, not that way. So I have walked in, and you know when you have that phrase, you can cut the tension with a knife, right?
Yes.
Or that you walk in and you know the people in the room have just been fighting, but you didn't hear it. You just can tell that they've been fighting, right?
Yeah.
There have been times where I walk in and I get that feeling of they're very unhappy about something, but it's not directed at me. They're just unhappy about something.
So you're
Or
feeling energy.
right. Or there have been times where I walk in and I'm like, oh, you've got guests visiting. There's a lot of folks around here. It is really busy. And it's more of a, yes, stay out of our way. We're busy kind of thing. So not necessarily like a get out kind of thing, but more of a, can you wrap up what you're doing? We're busy and we've got things to do. Goodbye kind of thing. So on the other hand, though, I will say that I always try my best to be as polite and respectful to them as possible. So I haven't run into things like that because I don't provoke them. I do my best not to provoke them, or be rude to them, and I don't allow people who are provocative or rude into the house either. So, you know, it has fortunately worked out for me where I don't have those kind of feelings.
Mhm.
Although there was, when you guys came for Halloween, do you remember a few years back, I called you guys up and said, hey, you know, Halloween is, you know, we've got nothing planned. Do you want to come out and do something? And you guys were like, yes, absolutely. And it was a pretty active night, and they were busy, but we got to Jesse's room and Tim and Amanda walked into her room, and I stopped in the doorway because it very much felt like you're not supposed to be here. This is our holiday. What are you doing? Like Jesse was yelling, but not necessarily like not angry, but also just kind of annoyed maybe.
Right.
And so I said, okay, well, I won't go into your room. I'll stay right here in the doorway. But Tim and Amanda had walked into the room, and Tim had set up a camera in Mary's room, went right with a light. And this poor man, he found out that he should not be anywhere within an arm's reach of me because my instinct is to hit. why, why I can't tell you, but that is my instinct. My fists go up and I throw punches. So all of a sudden, Mary's light starts flashing off the camera in there, and I just whap like 15 times. Oh my God! And he wants to pile up, and he's like, "Oh!" And I'm like, "I'm sorry, but did you see that?" So I guess those are the few times where I have felt, not necessarily negative energy, but more of a, we're annoyed that you're here kind of thing.
Yeah, enough is enough. So this is that moment there from Mark going up in Mary's room. Let's see if I can't.
It's here as well.
Are you sad that it's Valentine's Day and you didn't get a Valentine?
Holy shit, dude. I could swear I just saw something kind of like coming towards me here. Something's touching my, oh God. Oh shit, somebody's standing right in front of me. Oh my God. Holy crap. Hold on, let me make sure. Oh my God. Somebody was just like, dude, standing right in front of me, right here. Someone walked up to me.
That was great.
Typical Mark. Yeah. So that was right after I didn't want to go in that room. Went down, got Mark. He sent something right away. And then later that night, there was more stuff later that night that took place. A couple things too, and I wanted to mention this to you and see if other groups or other teams are identifying the sound. But there is this popping sound that occurs. And I have a clip of Steve doing it. So it's almost like mimicking him. I hope I got a clip of it.
And it's not like a radiator pop.
Hands, Steve, hands.
Yeah.
Hands, Steve, hands. Keep them to yourself.
So that was him doing the pop. So
Okay, yeah, that sounds different from the radiator pop.
yeah. So, and then while we were in the room, so what we did in the sewing room is we brought a Vandegraaff generator. And I'll get into that clip a little bit later where we picked up the little girl. Now, before then or after then, I don't even know when, but it was during that session where we heard this popping sound and we blamed Joe because it kind of came from Joe. And he swears up and down that it wasn't him.
Robert, did you ever draw in any of your journals?
Yeah.
Robert, did you ever draw in any of your journals? That was Joe, right?
Yeah. Did you hear that little popping sound?
Yeah, that was pretty clear popping sound. I don't know of any other groups that have caught that. I don't know if it's because your group thought it was really funny or crazy or whatever and made kind of like a little mini big deal about it. And they were like, oh, well, we can do that.
Well, here's the thing. That took place, actually, I got the dates wrong. That took place earlier on. That was like before 2013. In 2013, when we were there with Cindy and Mike, they heard a noise and they both swore that it sounded like a pop sound. And so now that I'm hearing these other people say they're hearing the sound, and it was in that room, the sewing room and Mary's room, there may be that. So something to look for or listen for while you're there in just that Mary and the sewing room.
Yeah, I mean,
that's where it's been
it's
picked up.
possible. It's possible we have heard it and, you know, kind of brushed it off as the radiator, or I don't know. But as far as my experience goes, I haven't heard it. So it's interesting that you guys have captured it.
And there was another time, now that I was just thinking, the day that Tim and I were there by ourselves, nothing really happened, but when he was upstairs in the sewing room, he was by the door, the closet door, I guess. And then he heard the pop sound there. And I believe he has that on, he captured that. And so we actually, after that day, we actually went back to Joe and said, okay, Joe, we got an audio capture of the same sound. And he's like, I told you guys. He was so upset that we blamed him.
Poor guy.
But, you know, that pop sound, we'll have to figure it out. It could be potentially the floorboard maybe making a sound, but, you know, it seems like it kind of happened. It's hard to say. So next time I'm there, I'll have to focus more on that popping sound, see if I can't recreate it. So some other clips from that day, let's see here, was, let's see, Mark sees a ghost. So speaking of Joe, this is the Van de Graaff generator, and this is the video clip for that. So let it load up a little bit here. All right.
Hey, Mary, why don't you sewing machine that we plugged in for you?
Can you please touch that?
It's sparking right now, but when you get right next to it, it'll stop sparking.
If that thing does anything, it gives it a cool effect.
That'll be a really harsh whisper, and somebody whisper really loud. That's what I thought it was funny. I didn't say anything. I heard a woman's whisper, clear as day. Yeah, like a few syllables. Yes. I thought it might have been somebody commenting to at least it looks cool. Yeah, no. It was funny. I didn't say anything. That'll be a really harsh whisper.
Cool effect. A cool effect.
Can you hear it?
It's probably.
Can you hear the little whisper?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're talking about a sewing machine. It sounds to somebody. Yeah. So it sounds like she's whispering it to some like two there, the little girl saying it's probably part of the plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what it sounded like to me.
Now, have you ever came across any disembodied voices like that?
Not like that necessarily. Mainly the disembodied voices I've heard, I kind of chalk up to Jesse. I don't really have a reason why. It's just what my gut tells me. But there are times where I'm closing up for the day and I say, all right, because I talk to them when I come in any time of the day, usually in the mornings. I say, good morning. This is what our plans are for the day. And then at the end of the day, when I'm closing up, I say, okay, hope you guys enjoyed the day. Have a good rest of your night. See you tomorrow. and I'll sometimes hear a woman go, "Thanks, you too." And it makes me stop for a minute. I'm like, oh, okay, well, at least they're polite. But then there was one time where there was a couple of times this happened, but one time in particular, I was in the library with you're familiar with the Ghost Hunter Dan Norville project team, right?
Yeah.
So Dan and the majority of the team were across the creek. On the other side of the creek, nobody was around the house. We've got cameras out. I can see if anybody's around the house, right? And Larry and I were in the library, and he wanted to interview me, ask a couple of questions before the night got started. And the moment he hit the stop button on the recording, he stop recording, a woman's voice upstairs went, "Hey." And so I looked up and I said, "Hey." And he looked at me, he goes, "I thought it was just the two of us in here." And I said, "Well, that's what I thought too, but I don't know." He's like, "What?" I said, "I don't know. They said, hey." I said, "Hey." I don't know. And so, of course, he wants to go look and investigate and check out. And sure enough, we're the only ones in the house. You know, and so it's kind of every now and then we hear a "hey" or a "thanks, you too."
And that was your kitty talking there.
What's that?
I heard your cat meow, so just
yeah.
for anyone out there listening.
Yeah, that's Baba Doug. He's coming in to say hello. But
Hello,
yeah.
Curdy.
So this is Bobby. Found him in the Tinker Gardens, and so I called him Bobby because it seemed fitting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. This is usually our nighttime snuggle time, so you know.
Well, that same night on the February 15th of 2013, I was telling Steve about the number 8. So we had some incidents with the number 8. We know that there was 8 funerals, and keeping that in mind, I'll play a next clip from Dale's page from Ghost Research Society.org. And it's with Ghost Head Soup and Dale. And we were using the reverse machine, an Ovilus, and George speaks into the microphone and it comes out reverse. And the response, and I said, "George, keep number 8 in mind." And when he said that, the Ovilus said 8. So I have that on a clip. So I don't know if anyone knows, but the number 8 or infinity, the infinity sign. So if you enter a room and do the infinity sign, it puts good energy into the room.
Oh.
And I mentioned that to Cindy, and Cindy actually said that she does Japanese massage or Japanese energy stuff, and she was going to try to do that too at Tinker Swiss. So I wonder if she ever did that. That's a question I'll have to ask her, or bring that back. See if we can't bring that. Yeah, see if we can't do an experiment on just the energy, because she says that she was saying that she was massaging somebody and something occurred and she felt energy and the energy was released or something like that. So, and she wanted to, if anyone wanted to be a guinea pig that night, she would volunteer her services. But I don't think it went further than that. So let me bring on this clip for Dale's page. And my reaction is priceless. I'm a ghost hunter, but I'm a kid too, I'm the biggest kid I know. So my reaction is priceless. Dale makes fun of me.
Yeah. When you start up again, keep the number 8 in mind with your questions.
Okay.
Let's see where that goes.
Actually, I have it. I'm asking for a head count.
Oh, okay.
But I will do that. I'll only give like 2-3 more minutes.
Okay.
And I will keep 8 in mind. Earlier you mentioned number 8.
Yeah, around the chandelier.
Shut up.
Wow.
Shut the hell up.
Whoa, what was just find life?
No, George. George,
Oh my God.
Yeah,
when you asked in reversed about the number 8,
yeah.
Dale, tell him what happened.
Novelist said 8.
Dean, there were 8 of us earlier.
Yeah. That was freaking awesome timing, man.
What happened?
That was cool.
Well,
All
I
right.
mean, I think a lot of us still react that way though, even though we've got all these years, because a lot of times it is just sitting in the dark waiting for something to happen. And when something finally happens, it's like, oh, you know.
Well, just to have it, I get asked for the number 8, and then the envelope says 8. It just,
Yeah, that's
stuff like that freaks me out. You gotta say.
that's great though that you guys got it recorded too. I can't
Yeah.
tell you how many times I've got amazing evidence. Something cool has come through the ghost box. No recording.
Exactly. And the cool thing about that too is Jessica was in the background, and she said that there was 8 of us in the house earlier. There was 8 of us. Did you
I
hear
mean,
me?
yes. Sorry, it took a
Okay.
minute for it to come through. Also, I was going
Okay.
to point out that you were in the library, and the library is designed to look like an octagon.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
Yeah, George was in the library.
yeah.
We
Oh.
were in the Ward A
Oh,
in the sitting
in
room.
the sitting
Yeah.
area.
Oh, you're kind of breaking up on me.
Hard. On me.
There we go.
Okay.
Gotta let the Wi-Fi catch up.
It's one of
here.
those nights.
Yeah. Oops. Can you hear that? I
can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. So I have from April 13th, 2019, I got the paranormal demonstration. I can play that. It's about 5 minutes. I'm dying here. What's she laughing at? Oh, me cry. Okay, I got you. Lord, let me. Well, continue to laugh because this is me talking. It's funny.
Tinker Swiss Cottage is a historic house museum. Along with the house, there is a carriage house and a barn. Ghost Head Soup and Tinker Swiss Cottage museum members gather in the barn to prepare the folks for their Victorian paranormal journey. Tinker Swiss Cottage, April 13th, 2019.
See the beautiful windows intact?
Nice meeting you.
Yes.
He's out from Freeport. He works here in Rockford, so
My phone just.
such a couple clips from that night. So watch this anomaly that comes over this guy's head. See it? And then it bounces in front of him. And it hangs there and flies around.
Samantha discussed how the Tinker family loved to goof around with the staff members and on occasion would move pieces of the silverware on a dining room table. We tried our own experiment as well. Sadly, the setting remained still. As we prepared for the public
You
investigation,
gotta look carefully.
a strange image appeared to be watching us behind the curtains. Keep in mind the term pareidolia.
See the lady's face?
Mm-hmm.
Gives it more IR light.
Light.
There you go.
There you go.
Can you say hi?
Can you point in the room where you're
Oh, there's dowsing. And I think that's like a lot of dowsing.
Oh,
And
I'm
they
sure.
got yeah, it's just a recap so that people can go in there and check everything out. But I wanted to
Nice.
show that anomaly and the pareidolia thing.
Keep in mind the term pareidolia.
I mean, this lady's face, I mean, it's like right here, like a
Mhm.
mouth, nose, eyes, and it's like right behind the lace there, the curtain. And I keep thinking, the Nun, the movie
Oh,
The Nun, when I see that.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I mean, that's the thing is, our brains are just wired to see patterns and images, and it's hard to tell sometimes in the evidence what is evidence and what is pareidolia,
but it's fun. I mean, you got to keep it in mind. You got to question everything, obviously, but we're just data collectors, man. That's what we do.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we got a few minutes left here, and so I wanted to announce a few things that's going on this coming Saturday, the 22nd. I will be speaking at the Spirits of Spring event up in Broadhead Manor. You go to Shadow Hunters events, you'll see that event take place there. He's got a lot of guests going up there, a lot of vendors, a lot of stuff going on, ghost tours at the end of the night. So it's going to be a long day with no running water, but they have porta potties out there, they said, so, and food trucks.
Well, that
It's going
helps.
to be a long day. So that's going on Saturday from 10 to 6. And then I think the ghost hunt is later on for the vendors or something like that. We also have a new Midnight Screams out there with none other than Samantha. Using her voice for the story called Heat. So go and check that out, Midnight Screams. And it was nice. We got a comment on it and got 63 views already, I believe. So that's
Hey,
nice that people are out
not
there
bad.
checking it out. And the comment was all the way around good story, good video, and awesome narrative. So there you go. Kudos all the way around, guys. Of course, Ghost Hunters, you can see Tinker Swiss at Fear Factory, Season 8, Episode 20. And that's the second. There's a two-parter there. To Tinker Swiss is the second part. April 15th just passed, so that investigation is over. You have with Henson and Bartel, two awesome dudes. May 13th, that's with Haunted Rocker. Great guys.
Well,
If that's not sold out,
that one is sold out, but also
Okay.
Steve and Josiah can't make it. So they're sending their other two team members who are also really great guys. And so it still should be a really fun event, but both Steve and Josiah aren't able to make it. So still their crew, just not those two. So,
the two crew.
yeah, but it is sold out.
Well, sometimes you can't have Gene and Paul, right? You got to have Ace and Pete. Oh, well. But they'll and of course, you got the Paranormal Access with Chris Fleming coming out April 29th. That's just around the corner. May 5th and May 6th as well. Is May 5th sold out yet or no?
May 5th, I think, has like 5 tickets left. So
Get
the
out
other
there,
two are
guys.
fully sold out.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll see how the Tinkers treat Chris.
Hopefully, we shall see.
I wonder if they're going to get a sound.
We'll have to keep our ears open for that this time.
Yep. And of course, we got the Kling brothers, aka Ghost Lab and Richard Estep from Travel Channel's Paranormal 911 and Haunted Hospitals. Look for them at July 28th. Meet
Yep.
and
So
greet,
we
pizza
still
party.
got some tickets left to that one.
Okay. Now there's different type of tickets, right?
Yes. So your basic ticket, it's actually a 2-day event. So your basic ticket gets you into the conference at Veterans Memorial Hall on the Saturday. The next step up gets you that ticket plus Veterans Memorial Hall Saturday night. The top tier is a private investigation at Tinker Friday night before with all the guys, gives you a chance to get their autograph, take photos with them. They're doing a pizza party, so dinner's included. But yeah, it's limited to a very small amount of tickets for that top tier one. So
And they've been there before.
they have, but
investigated.
it's been a number of years. So we're excited to have them back.
I wonder if the Tinkers are. They could come over.
We
They
shall
could come.
see.
They seem like over the top guys.
Yeah, I've never gotten the chance to really work with them before, so I'm excited to meet them and
Oh yeah.
see how it all goes. But yeah, we do what we do every time for anybody, whether they're on the TV shows or everyday folks coming in. I always go in, give them like a pep talk of, hey guys, don't forget, can you please help us pay the rent this month by participating? And we just hope for the best. So
That's funny you said every day because they are everyday paranormal. That's their name of their group.
oh, is there? Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. My bad.
Hey, there you go. So anything else coming up at the Tinker? that you
Yeah,
wanna
so
share?
we have our annual spring fundraiser coming up on Wednesday, May 3rd. It's from 8 to 9 a.m. It's a breakfast, so you come in, have breakfast, and donate whatever you'd like for the breakfast. And if you can't make it to the breakfast that Wednesday morning, we are accepting donations via our website, PayPal on our website, or you can send a check into the museum as well, or call over the phone and we can take your card info. Any way you want to support the museum, we'll accept it.
Very nice. All right. So again, thank you so much for joining me this Tuesday. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you for having me.
Thank you all the people that joined in and watched live. If not, one day I will get season 3 up on YouTube. Right now I'm focused on the Midnight Screams, but season 3 should be up there sometime this year.
Eventually, whenever.
I got the event coming up this weekend, so it won't be, that soon. And I get sworn in as vice president of the Moose on Thursday.
Congratulations. That's exciting.
I know, very exciting. And, May's going to be, on sad news is my sister-in-law passed away a couple days ago. And so May, we're going to do a celebration of life at the Elgin Moose. So that's going to be something, May's going to be a little tough. I mean, it's already tough now. So, yeah, my brother's putting that together. So, yeah. So without,
Dean.
oh, thank you. Yeah, it just seems like I don't like sharing this news. I don't like these news. I want good news. Good news. Good stuff. So hopefully the Spirits of the Springs works out. Hopefully it warms up because there's no heat in that place either.
Ooh, yeah.
I gotta start preparing my presentation for that evening. So I'll get that ready, going, and see what happens. So until next week, Tuesday, maybe I'll have an update on what happened at Broadhead.
All right, looking forward to it.
And then in May, hopefully we have Laura on the show in the near future. And then Sarah Belker will also be returning sometime in May, hopefully. She is going through a lot of stuff with her daughter's volleyball. So hopefully we can get her on in May, she said. So she was with us Saturday night at the museum. So again, Roscoe Historic Auto Attractions Museum, awesome place. Go. It's pretty cheap, and you can spend all the time you want in there. Walk around once, get acclimated, and do it again, and deep dive into the spots you want to, and get your picture with any president you want.
And yeah, it's a great place. Like I said, it's more than just cars. It's called Historic Auto Attractions, but it is a lot more than just vehicles. It's incredible what they've got in there.
Yes. I believe the Ghostbusters cars there too.
The Ghostbusters cars there. They've got the
My
Batman
favorite,
vehicles.
Batman. My favorite is Sanford and Son.
The truck. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's my favorite. You gotta love Sanford and Son. Come on. All right. So good night, everyone.
Good night.
See you next week. Oh, hey. Wow. Oh, hey everyone, it's Dean from Paranormal Pickers. Oh, I got the preview for the next episode. Oh, yeah. Here, take a peek. Oh.
This place is haunted.